hungry.
Not too bad, it works. See that?
Whoa! Come on!
The great thing about DreamWorks in general is that they want you to go as far as you can go. And How to Train Your Dragon is an incredible ride.
Yes! Oh, this is amazing!
Well, DreamWorks Animation, of course, our goal is to bring great stories to life with great characters that you fall in love with. But being a CG animation company, technology is essential to bringing that vision to life.
Look at us! We're on a dragon! Wow. We're on dragons! All of us!
It's great.
Every time we release a new film, artists and audiences expect breakthrough effects, breakthrough experiences. If you look at the hair, if you look at the fur, if you look at the dynamics, the environments, all of that stuff has become more complex. So it's always pushing the state of the art and trying to see something they've never seen before.
We aim to really just draw the viewer into the experience so that they forget that they're actually watching a movie. That's the best experience, and when we achieve that, then I think people go away very satisfied, and Dragons certainly achieve that.
We wanted to start the movie with a big bang, and so we thought, what better way than to really show the conflict that these Vikings and dragons are engaged in.
Are you kidding? Get down!
It's an incredibly complicated sequence because of the number of locations. We're all over the village. We're trying to meet all of our main characters and get to know them. And there's enormous effects complexities. There's dragons burning down houses and blowing things up. There's catapults going off and being destroyed. There's an ocean. Pretty much everything that we've got in the movie shows up in that first sequence.
Reload! I'll take care of this.
Our biggest challenge on this film visually has probably been coming up all the different types of fire that we need for all the different dragons, and then trying to make them all feel like they've all evolved at some point to be different.
When in doubt, heat warp.
Yeah, exactly.
We're used to seeing in most live-action dragon movies, the fire is usually based on propane gas. It makes these beautiful fireballs that kind of then float away and dissipate because you don't want something flammable to stick to your entire set and burn it down. Well, we don't have that problem. We actually can burn down our sets because they're in the computer.
Craig Ring wanted our fire to be so flammable that it could even set dirt or concrete or anything on fire. So you'll see some of the fire that the dragons breathe is viscous, and it bounces and it slides off things and sticks, and it's incredibly dangerous. For the Monstrous Nightmare, Craig found some really cool reference of fire that was kind of spilling up into a ceiling and kind of cascading and sticking to walls and rolling up around. And so what he did is we wanted to flip that upside down and actually give the fire some gravity. And so flipping that reference upside down really drove us into coming up with this approach, which is almost like a fluid sim, like a viscous fluid sim that's essentially not lava, but not like a real buoyant fire. And so you'll see in the film there's a whole bunch of this stuff that just kind of hits houses and kind of rolls off and splashes and has this leading edge of flames licking off the front.
I've never worked on a film that had as much fire as this movie. We've got every kind of fire imaginable, and the effects department has done an amazing job of developing all of those different things, as well as smoke and fog and all of the other things that bring the environment to life.
Welcome to dragon training. What? Whoa! Focus, Hiccup!
I think that dragons as a concept have been done before in movies. So we knew going in, these dragons have to be really cool.
We really tried to say, how can we keep them dragons and really push them into something that, while still a dragon, is something you haven't seen before.
We're not doing the sort of classic idea of a dragon. We're trying to be more colorful and find the sense of humor in the dragon.
The design of Toothless was governed by one need, which was that if we were going to have Hiccup, a Viking, befriend a dragon, which was the most forbidden thing he could do, we had to create the ultimate dragon. So we took the dragons we had and we thought, how can we upgrade this whole thing?
Yeah, there you go. That's what you want.
We started thinking of things like black panthers, large cats, or not so much reptilian, but maybe mammalian. We also really liked the idea of a stare. We knew that there was going to be a stare between Hiccup and Toothless that would really define their relationship and cause Toothless to free him. And the closest equivalent we could find to that was a big cat stare or like a wolf stare. Very kind of stoic, but penetrating and powerful. And so those were the elements that we started with, and we arrived eventually at Toothless.
Toothless? Could have sworn you had... teeth.
Rigging for this film was different from previous films because the dragons were significantly more complex than other characters we've done before. If you think of a character like a marionette, the rig is the strings and the joints and the things that make the characters movable for the animators. The dragons have long necks and tails. They have wings that have to fold but also extend and fly the way you would expect maybe a bird's wings would. And all of those are new and complex elements that we needed to figure out how to do.
Typical dragon required something like 4,000 controls, half of which typically are in the face to get the expression and expressiveness as the main point of acting. The animators worked very hard to get a wide range of expressions in the face, from anger to love and trust, and I think that came through very strongly in the film.
Yeah, I'm on it.
With Toothless, we tried to come up with a way of acting with him. And we found that he's got these big ears, and on any animal, ears are extremely expressive. When he's angry, we pull his ears way back, and when he's happy, they come up and maybe twist a little bit. And they're very connected with his whole face. And so just the combination of the shape of his eye, just tilting it a little bit to an angry side will make him look pretty angry without giving him horrible brows. So when he's happy, the shape of his eye becomes very round as we can get them, with his pupil dilating and his ears come up. And we'll go from really dilated sort of pupils, which look much cuter, to a slit in a couple frames, and he just all of a sudden, without doing anything else, you just know he's angry. But once we figured him out, and I think we did a pretty good job, I think he's very expressive.
You just scared him.
I scared him?
Astrid? Toothless. Toothless? Astrid.
I have wanted to do something with flying creatures for a very long time, so when I saw this, I thought, oh my gosh, we can just take that to places that you've never been before.
Just let me show you.
We knew from the outset that 3D was going to be integrated into this film, and so we thought, well, probably the best thing we have to offer is the flying sequences. Up there in the clouds, feeling that vertigo of the land way beneath and the sky up above, and putting that camera on the back of the dragon with Hiccup is really the best way we could conceive of taking advantage of the technology.
We've done clouds in a few movies now here at DreamWorks, and so we've been working on a new rendering tool here in the effects department to get even more and more detail when these clouds get really, really close. On top of that, we want to come up with really cool ways to scatter light through the clouds, so you get this kind of translucency and bleeding effect and light scattering through the clouds.
It's amazing.
From the outset, we talked about having a cinematographer come in to talk to our lighting team, but also our layout team, about taking these amazing assets that we had, these very realistic textures and incredible sets, and rendering them in a way that nobody has really ever seen in animation. So when we sat down and we brainstormed, we just thought, well, our favorite cinematographer, and probably the most prolific one out there at the moment, is Roger Deakins. He's shot so many of my favorite films, and so we were surprised and very excited that he accepted our invitation to come in and let us pitch him the film, and even more elated to find out that he wanted to take on the project.
You'd come up to be looking down at Hiccup.
He influenced the type of lenses we used, the camera work, but also on the lighting side, you know, what type of lighting, how sophisticated it is, these rich blacks on screen, and minimalistic lighting or very natural lighting, which is not something that's done very often in animation. So the cumulative effect is that this film kind of lives and breathes like a live-action film in the best possible sense, and one that's been rendered with a kind of poetic simplicity.
Every surface in this film is believable. Every piece of wood, every piece of stone, every little drop of water, and just the general level of and scale of these effects is stupendous.
Come on, bud!
Animation, the acting is incredible. The lighting and the textures and the designs, everything is just at such a top-notch level that I couldn't be happier with it, and I'm personally blown away. Like, I marvel every day walking from room to room at what they can accomplish.
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.